Hi, welcome back to the Mom & Co podcast. My name is Bopa and I am your host. Today's topic of conversation is something that my oldest son said to me yesterday that made me just reflect on my past life. So, right now, currently, we are dog sitting for my friend. His name is Bernard. He goes home tomorrow. As you probably can hear him snoring right now. He's on the ground, just sleeping away and snoring. He is such a lovable dog. He has been with us for a week, and prior, he's been with us before in the summer for 2 weeks, and that's when we just fell in love with him. Anyways, my oldest son said to me yesterday, he's like, "Mom, why didn't you get us a dog sooner?" As if Bernard's our dog, but he's not. And he's like, "I would have loved having a dog." And so it made me think back to the last dog we had. The last dog we had his name was Louie. And what's so crazy was I ended up telling them a story that sometimes I'm ashamed to even say, because I was in this position of not being able to handle a lot of things that were coming my way. So we were down to one dog named Louie. And it was crazy because now let me go back a little bit actually. Before Sully and I got married, we had two dogs, two Shih Tzus, Zeus and Chloe. Zeus was my dog. He loved me. He did not love Sully. And Chloe was Sully's dog. She just loved Sully. And the day before our wedding, we were loading our car to go to the venue. And Zeus and Chloe somehow got out of the house and they crossed the street. Well, Zeus got hit by a car. Chloe got to witness it, and she was never the same after that because he died. And I didn't realize it, but I don't think I was ever the same. But I didn't recognize it. And I just processed his loss last year, which is so crazy. But anyways, we had the title wedding ceremony that we still had to do that same day, that evening. And then we had our ceremony and our reception the next day. I just remember going to the vet and Sully and I were just bawling. How are we supposed to show up to our wedding after a loss such as losing our first dog? It was one of the hardest things that I've ever had to face, but everything happened so fast that I didn't have time to process it. And I remember people even saying, "It's just a dog. Why are you crying? You have a wedding." And those were said by the Asian adults. And so I got upset. I remember feeling very upset about it. And but I didn't recognize the story it would play later on in life with losing our daughter too. It's a crazy just correlation. But anyways, when that happened, Chloe did not eat for 2 or 3 weeks, and it was just very heartbreaking to see. And so when we went to go pick up Zeus's ashes at the vet, I think it was at the vet, I'm not sure, I don't know, somewhere. Anyways, when we went to go pick up his ashes, there's this sign that said "Big Shih Tzus," and I was like, that's so cool because Chloe's this little dog. Zeus was a big Shih Tzu. I don't know how he got so big. And so we're like, you know what, we should go over there and check it out. And it was a really cheap dog. And so we went and met the dog and we brought him home. His name was Louie. And he was just so funny from the very, very beginning. So we had Chloe and Louie. And in 2012 or 13, I forget which one it was, Chloe ended up passing away. And both of these dogs were with us when I started having kids. And it didn't, I didn't give them the same love like I used to, because obviously when you have children, it's really hard to adjust. And not only that, but my dad was also not doing well. I think during this time he had his brain aneurysm, dementia, and then he ended up having his car accident in 2014 when I gave birth to our last daughter. And so I remember being very overwhelmed, and I went on Facebook because I did have a conversation with Sully. I said, hey, Sully, I cannot handle having Louie with the 4 kids under 4. And then with my dad needing care for me. And so, he talked to me and he gave me some scenarios, and he felt bad. He didn't want to give Louie away. And I remember saying on Facebook, I said, if anybody is looking for a dog, we're willing to give our dog Louie for free. If no one wants him, unfortunately, we're going to have to bring him to the shelter. And that, was probably one of the hardest things to write out. But at this point, I was exhausted. I was tired. I knew I didn't have time for him anymore like I used to. And I got very, very lucky because one of the girls reached out to me, and she was someone that I've known, but we didn't know very well until we went on this Vegas trip on our friend's 30th birthday. We happened to be in the same room. We roomed up together, and she had this ideal version of who I was, which was not anything like me at all. So we just became best buds on this trip. She loves to eat, and I can never finish my food. And so it was like a match made in heaven. I would order the food, and if I didn't eat it all, I knew that I wasn't going to waste it because my friend Sherry was going to eat it all for me. And that just became a running joke. Well, anyways, she ended up reaching out, and at the time it was her boyfriend Dave, and she came to meet Louie, and they brought Louie home. And I could not have picked a better family for Louie because her parents loved him just as much as my family and myself did, and so it was just this match made in heaven. And I am just so grateful that it was them that Louie got, because he got the best life from them. And so when I shared that story with my oldest son yesterday, I said, that's the reason why I never got our family a dog, because I had to give up my last dog because I started having kids and aging parents, and I just didn't have the capacity like I once did. And it's just not fair for me to do something like that. And also looking at our current life, we're busy. We just don't have time for dogs. And so he looked at me and he goes, you thought like that? You're just giving your dog away, and you're going to just put your dog down because you're exhausted? And I was like, yeah. I didn't know what else to say, because I was very overwhelmed. And so it just made me reflect. And then this morning, so my Facebook is my Facebook journal from all the years. So I have to read this. This was in 2019. Okay, so November 17th, 2019. I wrote, we are so thankful for the relationship that we have built with our dog's adoptive parents, Sherry and Dave. After we had Valentina, we recognized we could no longer care for Louie the way we used to prior to having 4 children. I remember crying because I didn't know what to do, because Louie was such an amazing dog, but I knew he needed someone that could give him more time. I posted our story on Facebook, and Sherry and her then boyfriend, now husband, responded. Louie ended up having many health issues that I'm sure they did not expect or prepare for, but they loved him as is and have been taking such great care of him. I love hearing how spoiled he is by them and the grandparents. We saw Louie for the first time in 5 years when we went over to list our home a few months ago. I'm crying reading this. I cried. He's still the same funny dog that I remembered, just slower and older. Ah, gosh. Holy crap. I guess I never processed his loss. Yesterday, Sherry and Dave brought over Louie and lunch for our family, and we got to catch up on what they've been up to since purchasing their new home. We are loving all the home updates. And as a bonus, we had a little gender reveal with them. That meant a lot for them to share that with us. This morning, Sherry and Linda, her sister, surprised us with cronuts, croissant plus donuts, that they said we had to try. It was delicious. They also got to see Valentina drop it down low early in the morning. Thank you for being the best adoptive parents to Louie and being amazing friends to us. We are grateful. Oh, goodness gracious. And so Louie passed away a few years ago. And again, Sherry and Dave are just the most thoughtful and kindest people. They reached out to us and invited us to spend the last hours with them too. And that was the most precious gift that anybody could have given us. And so I think yesterday when my son asked me about why we never got them a dog, it instantly took me back to when I posted that on Facebook about Louie, and then angels were sent to us. And I think about what my friend Chelsea, that has her 3 dogs, and she said to me, you know, it's really hard to find dog sitters that love dogs that don't already have their own dogs. And that stayed with me too, because I do love being able to help people take care of their dogs, because we don't have them, but we can also give them back because our life, we just don't have time for them right now. But it just reminds me so much of like a village, like whether you have children or whether you have dogs, having that village that you can count on. It's so important. And our kids just teach us so much, and they make you go back and reflect on things you just did not process. I thought I processed, I processed the loss of Chloe and Zeus just last year when I did a photo shoot. I had their ashes, and I've been carrying it with me to every home that we moved into, but I never opened it. I don't know why. I was just so scared to. I'm not gonna lie. I was like super, super scared. And so I just never opened it. And I decided to do this like solo photo shoot, almost like a senior photo, because I had just gone through all this processing of losses that I've had. And I was like, I feel good about all of this. I want to have a photo shoot to represent this like new person, this new journey of like honoring my past and leaving it there, and to be able to move forward, because I realized that a lot of my past losses that I never processed kind of really held me down. And so this photo shoot was just so powerful for me. And I did it with Joelle, which she has been through a lot of my journey with me. And so to do that with her, and we both cried, it was, again, another powerful moment in my transformation. And it was fun to be just there with her. Nobody else. I didn't have Sully there. I didn't have my kids there. And I was like, Joelle, I'm going to open up these boxes finally. And so I opened the boxes of Zeus and Chloe's. I was shook. Like, I don't know. I guess I've never seen ashes. So I didn't know, because all my family that has passed, we've buried them. So like, I didn't know what to expect. And when I opened it, I remember feeling shocked, like, that's it? I was scared to open this. And so like, I'll have to post photos because I do have some photos where I was like super shocked that this was it. Like, and I've been scared to open it. But yeah, I'm glad my son sparked that memory and for me to walk this back and to talk about it on this podcast because there's been a theme. There's been a theme of me talking about losses and there's beauty in losses. I mean, I know that sometimes we walk through these moments in life where we just don't know how we're going to move forward. And I always think about like the little things that makes you remember them, you know? And so when I see other dogs, I always think about my life before kids. I feel like having the dogs were a practice run for having children. And I definitely treated my dogs like my babies. And I remember never really having boundaries with my dogs. I can look back and say that. And I didn't have that with my children either because I was always so overwhelmed. And so now, you know, when we're watching Bernard or last week we watched my niece's new puppy, it's seeing the difference in who I am now. Patient, gentle. I don't get frustrated. I stay outside with the dog. Before, I think when I had my dogs, I would just open the door and let them out. You know, I think the neighbors probably didn't like us either because of it. Just a different person in general. That was so great just to go back and just to see my friends just like, I mean, seeing this photo, I don't know if you can see, but like, look how cute they are. Just love it so much. And that's why I love photos. I love photos and I love writing. It just takes you back in time and to read exactly how you felt in that very moment, even though it's years ago. Because when you reflect back, sometimes your words are different, sometimes they're the same, but it is really cool to be able to see that. And I know, like, for me, I've been talking to my mom a lot about her life before kids and stuff. And watching her reflect the same way that I'm reflecting, I'm just like, gosh, that's so cool, you know? And I hope that my writing, my podcast, my storytelling is something that I can gift to my children, to the younger generation, to the world. Maybe when they listen to the stories, they can hear their own stories and be able to just to spark that little reflection. Reflecting back on our life is just such a beautiful thing. It takes you back into a time and you can feel those moments and you can see how life constantly changes, you know, and to really be present in the moment of whatever your life is. If it's chaos, be present in it. And if it's peace, be present in it. Yeah. I just love kids and I love dogs, pets. They really do teach you so much about yourself. So thank you for letting me come on and just share that little piece of loss and love of my dogs and my children and my friends. Very grateful for them. Until next time, I will chat with you guys soon. Bye.